'Tis the season. I'm talking about two Christmas movies today. I'm not going as crazy as I did on Halloween, doing nothing but Christmas-themed videos the entire month of December, whereas in October, I did an entire month of Halloween or horror-themed videos. But I figure, 'tis the season, might as well do a couple Christmas movie reviews. So I'm going to do a doubleheader today, talking about both Silent Night, Deadly Night and Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. One day I'd like to do a ranked video or go through the whole series because there are several Silent Night, Deadly Night films, but I'm just focusing on the first two for now, mainly because some of the sequels are harder to find, a little bit elusive. So yeah, Silent Night, Deadly Night and Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 are both Christmas-themed slasher films where they feature someone dressing as a killer Santa, not a killer Santa, you know. I think technically you would classify this as a killer Santa movie because the killer dresses up as him, but it is not a killer Santa movie in the sense that the killer is Santa Claus. The first, Silent Night, Deadly Night, I think is an underrated slasher film. I think the reputation that it carries both hypes it up too much and underhypes it. I think in one way it hypes it up as being this shocking, horrifying film. You know, the critics were ripping it to shreds when it came out. I'm pretty sure it got pulled from theaters. It came out the same year as Nightmare on Elm Street. And it just builds it up as this really kind of horrifying slasher film. And I wouldn't even probably put it in the 10 most graphic slasher films I've ever seen. Like, it's pretty tame as far as 80s slasher films go. Yeah, it's not as shocking as you would expect it to be based on the reviews that it got at the time. And then because of that, I think there's this expectation that this is going to be some hallowed ground, some really kind of visceral horror experience. And then it's not. It's your typical 80s slasher fare with a Christmas skin on it, you know? It's an okay movie. I actually liked it quite a bit the first time I watched it. The pacing's all right. The performances are good enough for an 80s Christmas slasher film. Particularly the main antagonist, who isn't the killer. I mean, he becomes the main antagonist, but the killer has an antagonist, it's Nun. She's incredibly hateable. Like, I hated her so much. She does a great job of being just completely unlikable. The kills are fine. There's one kill in particular involving somebody being stuck to a wall while naked, and that's an interesting kill. Charles E. Sellier Jr. Sellier Jr. is the director, and Linnea Quigley's in it, who you'd probably recognize from films like Night of the Demon, Return of the Living Dead, as well as others. I don't think this movie ever reaches the heights of a Friday the 13th or a Halloween, but it never gets as crap as a lot of forgettable 80s slasher films. I remember the soundtrack being pretty creepy. IMDb gives this film a severe in the sex and nudity and violence and gore. This is definitely a movie that's more fun watched with friends. The opening is effectively shocking. It came out, I mentioned earlier that it came out the same year as A Nightmare on Elm Street. Fun fact, it actually briefly outgrossed it. Moving on to Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, and my review for this film is much quicker and more concise. It's shit. It mainly serves as a recap of the first movie. I remember watching it and being extremely frustrated by the amount of times it flashes back to the first film. I do not recommend doing a double header of this movie. In fact, this video almost serves as a warning. Watch these movies separately with some decent space in between. Oh my god. I'm pretty sure I watched them both the same day. We watched the first Silent Night, Deadly Night, and we were pretty hyped on it. We were all drinking and watching it together, so we were all like, yeah, number 2. And we threw the second one on, and we were like, what the fuck? Like, we just watched this movie. That being said, it is still worth a watch, because when the movie is not just re-showing shots from the first Silent Night, Deadly Night, it is one of the most hilarious, so bad it's good movies you will ever see. It has the famous garbage day scene.
Garbage day! Huh? No!
As well as some other fantastic lines, just delivered by the lead. He is so manic. He's crazier than Nicolas Cage. Lee Harry takes over the directing chair on this one. Yeah, Eric Freeman as Ricky is just on a whole nother level. It's insane. That's about it. That summarizes Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. Awful, boring, pretty much pointless except for a few so bad it's good scenes. So what I would recommend is that if you watch the first Silent Night, Deadly Night, and then next year you're in the mood for it again, just throw on the second one. You'll get a nice, decent recap of the first movie and see enough scenes from it that you'll feel satisfied with that itch. And then you'll get some of the best so bad it's good movie material possible. So yeah, that's how I'm going to end this review, with a rating of a 6 out of 10 for the first Silent Night, Deadly Night, and then a 3 out of 10 for the second Silent Night, Deadly Night, with the caveat that you watch the first one this year and then wait a whole year and watch the second movie. Thanks for watching this review of those two movies.